Of KNLY 91.1 FM. We are broadcasting live from the Woodlands, Texas to the world. You're listening to the only multimedia FM station in Houston, Texas. Your Fusion Radio. Top 40s, dance, Latin, country, pop, rock and roll. All in one station. Mixing genres and generations. You're listening to KNLY New Waverly, Texas. 91.1 FM, The Boss.
The program presented are submitted by members of our community and are a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect those of KNLY 91.1 FM and its affiliates.
I guess it's time to talk, huh? Welcome everybody to Superhuman with Dr. V and Jason Phelps, coming to you again from the clinic. Apparently it's moving day for the studio, so one more week without the studio. Looking forward to being there again next week in the new studio, getting to see everybody, Carlos and everybody again. But again, I'm Dr. V, I'm coming to you from our clinic, Core Sports Health. I'm a family nurse practitioner and doctor of nursing practice, specializing in functional medicine, kind of hormone therapy, sports performance, kind of health and wellness, longevity. And with me is Dr. Jason Phelps.
Don't do that.
Jason Phelps, and he's coming to you again, still from his home. Looking forward to seeing him again out there, in the studio after we get over this quarantine deal. We're going to jump into it because it's a continuation of last week, and we kind of did it in reverse, and for a reason. I would have liked to have done this first, but I've had so many questions on immune supplements, and everybody's hyper aware right now of their immunity and their health because of COVID-19, but understand that supplements are just that, supplements, okay? They're not to be taken in lieu of what we're about to talk about today for immune health. And today it's going to be the main thing, the basics, the foundation. It's going to be modifiable lifestyle factors that strengthen your immune system. And they're the things that we should be doing every day anyway. Understand that our immunity and our health is going to dictate how we respond, how we recover, and how resilient we are if and when we ever do contract, whether it's COVID or the flu or anything moving forward, okay? Right. This should really spark people to be hyper aware of their health. And again, like I talked about it last week, it's been 50-50. Half my patients have really increased their exercise activity, their diet, nutrition, been cooking at home. The other half have been just stressed out, gone the other way, not exercised, been locked up, they're just coming from and understandably so, an area of like fear and stress. So today we're going to just jump into it, and basically I want everybody to understand, like, during this heightened potential infection from COVID-19, favorably modulating your immune function can be an important strategy for not only reducing the chance of infection, but potentially reducing the severity of and the sequela or the recurrence of the infections. Since lifestyle factors have a large effect, probably the biggest effect on immune function, when working with patients or Jason, with clients in this new era of COVID-19, the modifiable lifestyle factors that we're going to discuss today are the biggest and most important, okay? The most important is going to be diet and nutrition. Like Jason and I talked about it, this could have a show all on its own, but we're just going to touch on certain basics, okay? Tons of research, okay, on immunity, on certain inflammatory factors. So it's not just saying, hey, it'll increase your immunity. There's a lot of verifiable data and biomarkers that we can follow to see if we're going in the right direction. Okay, so again, research indicates that adding a lot of, and I'm not saying advocating a vegan diet by any means, but adding more plant-based foods. Okay, super high in phytonutrients, water, lipid-soluble vitamins, and tons of antioxidants, as well as dietary fiber. Fiber, it's kind of one of those touchy subjects because some people say, yes, we need it, no, we don't. But they can actually down-regulate an overactive immune system. Okay, again, remember that COVID-19, it's an overactive immune response. It's basically a cytokine storm that actually hurts the body, not the virus itself. Okay, so a couple of really quick specific recommendations, and Jason and I have shared these over we've been over to look over them the past week. Is just number one, I like to say, a lot of people, you hear the saying, eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I like to switch that around, and I like to say, eat a lot of vegetables and fruit. Okay, right now though, here's the deal, and Jason said it last week. Right now is a time to be eating fruit. Okay, historically, like the problem is nowadays, it's not that fruits are bad, but understand that we're getting sugar from a ton of different sources all year round. Okay, we used to eat fruit seasonally, and now it's available because of our global market all year round.
Yep.
So we can eat pineapples and papaya and all these things in January or times when they're out of season, right? Right now is a period of growth. Feel free to have some, again, this is if you're a generally healthy, not a type 2 diabetic or type 1, feel free to have your watermelon, to have your melons, to have your, ideally I'm big on lower glycemic fruit like berries, anything with berry, strawberry. We're coming up on berry season right now. Don't spike your blood sugar as much, but I like to say, increase your vegetable and fruit intake. And again, this might be hard, but aim for about 9 to 13 servings a day. Now, a lot of times the way we do that, just because of we're busy, right, is adding in a very good like green juice or like a red juice or thing. And there's a ton on the market,
There's a great one that we started getting from Costco even. You can get a 6-pack of these green juices, which are usually, they can be a little expensive, that are pretty reasonable and they taste good. And they're knocking out quite a few servings of veggies and fruit in just a quick drink that's already made.
Yeah. Organifi is a great company. You can go on organifi.com. And they have a green juice, they have a red juice, and it's just basically your full day serving of a green or red, and they taste good. So that's an easy one. But understand that when you increase these phytonutrients, you actually will kind of get to it. They enhance your gut microbiome. I'm going to stress the gut microbiome tons of times because as we're learning more about our gut bugs, right, we're learning that the majority of our immunity comes from the health of our microbiome, which is our gut health. This one, like I said, fiber, it's another one where it's hard as, by fiber, I do not mean go out and eat a ton of bread, okay? Because that's the quickest way to raise your blood sugar. There's a lot of other ways to increase your fiber, but try to get it from whole foods. There's a lot of whole foods that have fiber, but fiber will actually downregulate a good immune response, or an overactive immune response. Try to increase, again, for the gut microbiome, eat a lot of fermented vegetables, foods, probiotic-containing foods. They maintain epithelial health, or in other words, the junctions of your gut. And I'll kind of get to those in just a little bit, but gut barrier function is super, super, super important, okay? And I'll explain why in just a minute. But and then overall, the biggest thing, again, this is not the time to be eating a ton of sugar. I mean, it's just not. I see people at HEB that are wearing their mask, and they're wearing, like we talked about last week, they're wearing their masks that with their patterns or cute patterns on and think they're protected. But then if I look in their basket, they have bags of sugar, they have juices, they have cereals, they have all the processed foods high in sugar, their comfort foods, mac and cheese, those are not helping your immune system one bit right now. And that's actually
those hyperpalatable things, those are bad habits to get into. If you don't have those already, stay away from those. Those are going to be things that are going to be really hard to kick when you get back to normal life.
And so I actually saw a lady as I was checking out, and she's wearing her mask, but then she's literally sitting at the checkout eating her peanut M&Ms under her mask. So not but like touching her mouth, like doing all these things, but eating sugar. So I'm like, it's like double whammy. It's like, but number four, like reduce or avoid immune offenders such as like added sugar and high glycemic foods. Okay, those are primarily processed and refined food. Anything in a box is generally not good. Okay, food and nutrition are major daily inputs for health and well-being. Period. I mean, it just is. I don't care what drugs I give you or prescribe to you. If I give you a high blood pressure med, it doesn't matter if you're taking a high blood pressure med and then you go to Whataburger every day and you're eating, or you're eating bad food. So understand that like it's the most potent drug there is. I stress this to every patient. Okay. 3 basic mechanisms are involved in like, reducing viral infection and severity from food. Okay. Number 1, balanced inflammatory pathways. Again, that's the main thing that causes the damage with COVID-19.
How does that specifically help?
So when we lower the inflammation, so there's a lot of inflammatory mediators, that we look at medically. There's interleukins, which is like IL-6 is one of the big ones. There's prostaglandins. There's TNF alpha, and y'all don't need to know the names, but basically, low-level chronic inflammation, activates their innate immune response, and there's a lot of studies that show that they increase the risk of like their lifestyle-induced disease, like type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a specific disease that we give ourselves. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Type 2 is a disease caused completely by the diet, so it's only going to be really healed by the diet. Okay. But basically, to lower the inflammatory load, lifestyle, I really suggest refraining from a westernized diet. I mean, a westernized diet, our typical American diet is super, super inflammatory. I mean, sugar's in everything, even meat. I mean, it's in everything. Why? Because it's hyper palatable, like you were saying earlier. It's hyper palatable. If people understood the depth of what chemists are, they're chemists. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. I mean, there's chemists that are putting together your food. You're eating a chemical experiment, so you're not eating food. You're not eating a whole food. The ingredient of an almond is an almond. Okay, you look at a box of food, and it's like all these words that you can't even. If you can't pronounce the words, don't eat it. Like that's an easy rule. I really suggest shifting to a more balanced diet. I like to call it like ketotarian. So it's more of a higher healthy fat, moderate protein, or high protein. And again, there's differences. And like Jason, deals with, and myself too, deals with athletes. The diet I'm going to recommend to an athlete is going to be a little bit different than the diet I'm going to recommend to my type 2 diabetic. Right?
Absolutely.
But like ketotarian is more of, it's kind of ketogenic, so high fat, moderate protein, or a little bit with a lot more vegetables. So the problem that we're seeing with ketogenic diet or some of these diets is that there's all these experts online and telling you it's fat and butter and bacon and this every day and pork rind, and that's not a ketogenic diet. A ketogenic diet is more is basically like salad with salmon, olive oil, nuts. That's a ketogenic diet, but it's all they're all, it's a very, very high it's a nutrient dense.
Does it feel like it's been kind of bastardized, like if
it has
macros?
It has. Yeah. They kind of make it what they want. So understand, like I really stress to patients that a ketogenic diet isn't new. It's not a fad diet. Everybody thinks it was born out of a medical intervention from 1924. So Dr. Russell Wilder brought it up, like developed it, or he actually coined the term, and he was from the Mayo Clinic. He is a very well respected. Ketogenic diet was standard care. It was standard practice for type 2 diabetes and for epilepsy until two things happened: Dilantin and insulin was discovered. And
still to this day, it's the most referred diet for epileptics, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And now understand that the classical ketogenic diet for epilepsy, to have them tightly controlled, is way different. The classical ketogenic diet is like a 96 and 4. In other words, 90% fat, 6% protein, 4% carbohydrate. So that's not what we'd recommend generally to the average person, to the general population. And then you can get into genetic factors, like if they have an ApoE4, they can't really handle saturated fats. They have to have more mono, so like olive oil. So yes, it's just basically, number one, fat's not bad. We need a lot more fat. for whatever you're doing. Fat doesn't make us fat.
It does if you eat too much of it.
Well, they can't calorically,
Yeah.
but I mean,
That's any macro.
That's any macro, but basically it's what it does to your blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing is we need to learn to control hormones, because insulin is the biggest one, and that's why people can be eating well and exercising and not lose weight, because if their insulin levels up, insulin is the most lipogenic hormone that there is. So we need to learn to control insulin, however that may be.
To that point, in a lot of our athletes, what we really stress is a very low carb early part of your day. It's so we do very high protein, and we do our fats in the morning. These are for people that train midday or later on in the day, and we really try and keep that blood sugar controlled, and then introduce carbs when you need them, which is intra-workout, post-workout, just to recoup and rebuild that glycogen which you've just destroyed.
There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, man.
You bet.
But the main thing that we need to really consider is, number one, like you said, it's all about controlling the blood sugar, providing and the timing and things like that. And that's why, like I stress, if you have a goal, or if come see myself or see Jason, if it's an athletic or training goal, like go see Jason or Rebecca, because it's a lot of times it's a re-education.
Yes.
Okay, so we're coming up to our first break. It's 12:15, and so we'll see you back after a couple of words from the sponsors. Carlos.
There we go.
Watch us live in our social media. Watch us live in our social media: Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope.
Turn on your glam today. The Jenna Klein collection is here, elaborated with natural products. Give yourself a compliment with our organic lip glosses in more than 15 shades. With the Jenna Klein lip gloss collection, you can hydrate your lips and keep that glamorous look that you need. Turn on your glam. Visit jennaklein.com. And don't forget our skincare collection with natural ingredients that will improve the skin's appearance and prevent visible signs of aging. We have everything you need to achieve smooth and vitalized skin. jennaklein.com. Turn on your glam today.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. It's time to change. If you like country, we play it. If you like pop, we play it. If you like Latin music, we play it. If you like rock and roll, we play it. Because no one does fusion music like we do. 91.1 FM, The Boss.
Today with Cachet, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 to 10:30. 91.1 The Boss. Watch me live, Facebook, YouTube. Don't forget, 91.1 The Boss. Today with Cachet.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Cupcakes and Bubbles, located at 26400 Kirkendall Road in Tomball, Texas. Cupcakes and Bubbles has the sweetest and most delicious cupcakes for the entire family. From chocolate raspberry, strawberry rhubars, cookies and cream, and the most popular among kids, the s'mores cupcake. Come and enjoy our cupcakes with a glass of your favorite bubbles. Visit www.cupcakesandbubbles.com for the complete list of our delicious cupcakes. Order online through our webpage. DoorDash and Uber Eats is available too. Enjoy life's sweetest moments with Cupcakes and Bubbles.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. Mixing genres and generations, all in one. Mixing genres and generations.
It started as a dream. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to have my own restaurant. And it was a dream that finally we had the opportunity to build it here in the Woodlands. And I'm so happy with it.
It's a really authentic Italian food. I try to maintain the most original possible. It's very important. Every day I make my fresh pasta.
Chi mangia bene, mangia italiano. Please come and visit us.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
right, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, we're back. So we're just going to finish up real quick because I do want to leave people with the stressing that understand that ketogenic. There's nothing magical about ketogenic, paleo, vegan, any of these. What they are all are elimination diets. Okay, they all are similar in that they eliminate crap. Okay, they eliminate sugars. And if you can eliminate processed food and sugars, I mean, we can go to any number of studies, and I have so many notes that I send to Jason. It's like going to be hard to get through a lot of them. But understand that the more sugar you eat, the higher your inflammatory burden is. Period. That's the last note I want to leave people is the more sugar you eat from processed refined carbohydrates and just plain sugar, the higher inflammatory burden. Okay, I mean, there's certain studies we talk about systematic reviews. Systematic reviews and meta-analyses are basically a conglomerate of a bunch of studies. Okay, so it means that there's a pool of studies to pull from, and there was a big systematic review that showed that a single high-fat processed meal like sugars and everything like basically led to an increase of like an inflammatory cytokine that I told you about earlier called IL-6 or interleukin-6 of around 100% relative, to baseline within like just 6 hours. So I mean, it causes, and we see this with patients. I ate this, and all of a sudden I felt inflamed. We hear that all the time. But
hey, we have a question coming in to that point. So yeah. Cachet sent in a question. So
sure.
I want to address it before we go too far, and that is, should we go get panels done to find out how we should have our individual diet plans built for this type of thing to get the best bang for our buck when it comes to this? Are there certain panels that we should get done?
My personal recommendation is yes, and I know that you follow along that. Is it absolutely necessary? No. I mean, anybody can avoid sugar, but the thing is, my famous saying is like, you can't hack what you don't track.
That's right.
If you don't know, you don't know. So if you don't have an A1C done, if you don't know your fasting blood sugars, if you don't know your liver enzymes or your kidney, if you don't know any of that, you don't know if you've made progress.
That's right.
And I've had more than, I mean, on a weekly basis, I have people come in here that they get their A1C done and they find out they're pre-diabetic, and they thought, hey, why I kind of eat well, or I know I don't eat perfect, but no. Like for those people they already have insulin resistance, they need to really, really knuckle down, right?
And so, then she had a second part to her question was, say she wants to continue doing intermittent fasting or whatever her diet protocol is, it just needs adjusting. Is that something that we do? And I know from us, absolutely. If there's a certain style of diet that you absolutely like doing, we're going to try and keep you in that, because adherence is the number one predictor of success.
Yeah.
If you have something you can do and do it well, we're going to try and keep you in that lane. We might just need to tweak it some.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of what we call TRE, or time restricted eating. Okay, that's only eating in about an 8 or 10 hour window, because you can just limit what somebody eats or the time that they eat and not even really change their diet. A lot of evidence to this in studies. And they'll improve their blood sugars, they'll improve their glycemic control. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of, some people call it intermittent fasting. Me and my daughter just got off a 60-hour fast on from Sunday night to Wednesday morning. We try to do this once a month. Yeah, but it's supported with bone broth, ketones, things like. It's not just no food. I don't recommend a dry fast with nothing, or even a water fast really to anybody if they've never tried it. It's you have to. There's certain right ways and wrong ways to do it. So yeah, you can either see me or Jason to kind of tweak those. But again, like I mean, sugar in the diet is absolutely terrible for inflammatory burden. And if you already have a high level of inflammation, and then you do catch COVID, and I mean, you're already there. So one thing that I've seen that COVID's done is it's really exposed how unhealthy we are as a society. Period. Okay, and I said, the stats last week, 6 out of 10, Americans have a comorbidity, have hypertension, type 2 diabetes. 1 in 2 have prediabetes or diabetes. I mean, that's 50% of the population. Okay, so the last thing I'll kind of also say is this is a little bit of an aside, but given that a range of like pesticides, like glyphosate, they're all over the place, are also known to impact immune function. This is proven. I mean, they've been shown to impact immune function. Where financially feasible, I would recommend increasing consumption of like organic produce. Okay, it's not just a ploy to make you pay more money. There is evidence to it. You can go to EWG, the Earth World Group, and they have every year they have the 15 and the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen are the 12 foods you should never, ever, ever eat unless they're organic, period. And then the Clean 15 are the ones that, have a less pesticide burden, okay? So those are, you can go to the EWG website and check those out. But I really want to move on. I mean, we could talk for days and days and days because there's so many things like even advanced glycation end products or AGEs, that's a char on the meat. We could go into depth on all the things that, you should do and not do for diet, harmonizing the gut microbiome, all that. But I do want to get to the other points that we have on here.
Yep.
My next one, my main one, and I'm seeing this a ton, and this is really, really big. I had a patient break down Tuesday and tell me, Willie, she's like, I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well with this. I'm having a depressive episode. I'm seeing a lot of this. So stress reduction and management. Guys, this will really, really, really lower your immune function. A lot of people, the connectivity, but basically acute and chronic stress, whether right now it's financial stress, they lost their job. They don't know if their business is going to be open or closed. Understand that acute and chronic stress can result in a very, very dysregulated and suppressed immune function, period. This is not even a debate. It's been proven in study after study after study. So under these conditions, susceptibility to illness is it's more likely, period. It just is. And understand in a lot of ways we can't handle it. I mean, I can't just say, no, you lost your job, just handle your stress. I mean, so there's a lot of stress management strategy. I mean, it will lower your function, and it's kind of a catch-22 right now because I'm not just saying being not sympathetic or empathetic and saying you just need to control your stress because I don't know what a certain person is going through, right? But stress, I just really, really want to stress that stress, physical mental stress, will really lower your immune function. Okay, and I mean,
sleep is such an important part of stress management, and that when we talk about managing stress, that's the big block in there. And if you can manage to really get enough rest, you can overcome a lot of the other issues. So really try hard to do the small things that enable you to get to sleep at a normal time, limiting blue light, being careful about your diet later in the evening and making sure that you're prepared, you're cooled down, you're clean, and that you've got your routine down to get plenty of rest. And that can really make a huge difference in that battle against stress.
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole section here, it has, sleep has restorative, regulatory abilities. Sleep has a major influence on immune function and again on inflammatory signals. So anytime I say anything, it's not just, hey, sleep's going to make you feel better. Like there's studies again on the inflammatory factors, and they've checked biomarkers so things like CD4, CD8, cytokines, natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are white blood cells that will attack any viruses that come into our body. So we can improve natural killer cell function. We can help avoid, the exacerbation of the virus or replication. And one of the ways to improve natural killer cell activity is sleep. Okay. One of the things I have here, getting good quality, sufficient quantity, 7 to 8 hours. Try to have a set time every night. A lot of studies show where if you're consistent with your sleep time, go to bed at the same time every night, not go to bed at 8 o'clock one night and then 11 o'clock the next night and then 10 o'clock the next night, is a really, really good strategy. It's inherently restorative, okay, and enables an internal resetting of, regulatory aspect of your physiology, period. That's when we reboot. That's when we recover. That's when we pulse growth hormone. That's when we rebuild. So, there's a lot of studies on the lymphatic system in the brain. That the lymphatic system in the brain was just recently discovered, over the last few years, and that's basically the cleaning house of the brain. That happens in sleep. If your circadian rhythm is disturbed, which guess what, vitamin D will cause that. So again, going back to vitamin D will disrupt your circadian rhythm. Okay, circadian rhythm is our sleep-wake cycle. Okay, So that is super important. If somebody's interested in that, you can read a book called Circadian Code by Dr. Sachin Panda, and he goes into, it's a whole book on how the circadian rhythm can disrupt our health and wellness. And so you see it all the time with shift workers, people that work overnight. They have higher levels of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, things like that. People that work from midnight to overnight and have shift work disorder. So there's a lot of things. Viral infections themselves, they'll present with fever, pain, things like that, and they'll disrupt sleep. Medications sometimes, steroids, analgesics, pain meds, they'll also negatively impact your sleep. On the flip side, some people, if they have pain, they can't go to sleep. So again, it's another catch-22. So again, that's why we recommend getting with your healthcare provider or somebody that specializes in functional medicine to really kind of dig through those, specifically. I could really go. I don't want to be insensitive as far as telling people on the stress management therapies, because it's kind of hard for me to go, hey, I need you to go do yoga and Tai Chi, and you don't have a job. Nothing's really, so I mean, but it's very easy for me to go, hey, you need to control your stress. Again, if you want something very, very simple to do, and I said it last week, you can download either Calm or Headspace. They're apps on your phone. Or there's a new one called Pray, and it's kind of along the route of Calm, but it's guided meditation, but from a biblical perspective. So that's another good. We use Headspace, and there was a great one I was trying out this past week called Gratitude. Yeah. And it's actually a gratitude journal that you do daily along with that. So those are a couple that we use that really enjoy. I think we're coming up on our next break, Will. Yeah, we're a break. So we're going to head to our next break, and we'll see you after a few minutes from the sponsors.
Woodlands Prime Lending, offering business loan programs for all types of endeavors. Need a startup loan, equipment financing, or even a business line of credit? Woodlands Prime Lending offers a variety of commercial loans to help you get funded when you need it. Call 713-900-7170 or visit us on our website at woodlandsprimelending.com to schedule an appointment today. Getting a loan is easy with Woodlands Prime Lending.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. It's time to change. If you like country, we play it. If you like pop, we play it. If you like Latin music, we play it. If you like rock and roll, we play it. Because no one does fusion music like we do. 91.1 FM, The Boss.
Turn on your glam today. The KNLY collection is here, elaborated with natural products. Give yourself a compliment with our organic lip glosses in more than 15 shades. With the KNLY lip gloss collection, you can hydrate your lips and keep that glamorous look that you need. Turn on your glam. Visit KNLY.com. And don't forget our skincare collection with natural ingredients that will improve the skin's appearance and prevent visible signs of aging. We have everything you need to achieve smooth and vitalized skin. KNLY.com. Turn on your glam today.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Could your business use more customers? Could your business use more online traffic? Sponsor with 91.1 The Boss radio station and let our multimedia radio station promote your business. Contact us today at 713-370-5051.
Cupcakes and Bubbles, located at 26400 Kirkendall Road in Tomball, Texas. Cupcakes and Bubbles has the sweetest and most delicious cupcakes for the entire family. From chocolate raspberry, strawberry rhubars, cookies and cream, and the most popular among kids, the s'mores cupcake. Come and enjoy our cupcakes with a glass of your favorite bubbles. Visit www.cupcakesandbubbles.com for the complete list of our delicious cupcakes. Order online through our webpage. DoorDash and Uber Eats is available too. Enjoy life's sweetest moments with Cupcakes and Bubbles.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Are you great with people? Do you have professional experience? 91.1 The Boss wants to interview you as a sponsorship promoter. Contact us today at 713-370-5051.
He started as a dream. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to have my own restaurant. And it was a dream that finally we had the opportunity to build it here in the Woodlands. And I'm so happy with it.
It's a really authentic Italian food. I try to maintain the most original possible. It's very important. Every day I make my fresh pasta.
Chi mangia bene, mangia italiano. Please come and visit us.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for bearing with us. We're still getting it. It's a little bit different being remote and knowing, not being able to see Carlos and seeing the cues. So bear with us. We're both talking on the break, and we can't wait to be back in the studio. But basically, just wanted to finish it. Something that Jason and I were talking talking about over the break, and it's going to be, it kind of segues into our next modifiable lifestyle factor, and it's exercise.
Yeah.
Exercise itself, I mean, just recently, and I'm just going to start it with this, there was Dr. Jeffrey Woods at the University of Illinois basically said he basically researches the effects of exercise on the immune response. That's what he specializes in. He stated it's important to be exercising during the coronavirus pandemic, especially for those who are regular exercisers. For those who are sedentary, he comments, if you're sedentary, it may be a good idea not to overdo it, meaning walks, things like that. There's gardening, there's all kinds of things you can do, okay? But research suggests that unaccustomed, strenuous, or prolonged exercise might reduce the function of the immune system for people that aren't used to exercising, okay? If you're just going to go sedentary, just don't go out and run 5 miles. Okay? You probably can anyway, right? But start slow. But for those who are infected with COVID-19 and have upper respiratory tract infections that are mild, like sinus congestion, runny nose, things like that, he recommends moderate exercise. But not for those with severe symptoms, like obviously body aches, fever, chest cough, and this goes without saying, shortness of breath. Research has shown that a single bout of physical activity can stimulate immune function due to the rapid cellular changes that take place, but regular exercise is much more robust in its effects. So it's like consistency, right? It's really, really effective on immunity. So we were talking, on the break, and our patients have been 50-50, our clients, Jason's too. Half of them have come in and told me, man, I'm in such great shape. I've used this time to eat better, cook at home, exercise more, walk every day, ride bikes, with our kids. And then I have the other 50% that are just like, yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, they're just lost.
They just have no drive. And I'm like, this is the time to be working on your immune system. They just don't make the connection between diet and exercise and immune system. And understand, right, I'm telling you right now, if you're really, really worried about the coronavirus, you should
be optimizing those things.
You should be optimizing those things, again, because it's going to make you more resilient. Back to the last point, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit on sleep. The main point I want to leave y'all with sleep is that understand that less sleep equals higher inflammation, period, based on all studies. So if you get good quality sleep, you're going to lower your inflammation. Again, everything is going to be about inflammation. So, as far as exercise, what are you seeing with your clients? Jason?
So our athletes that compete and really have had a really tough training schedule, like a very dense training schedule, even for an athlete. We're seeing that most of them are kind of enjoyed the first couple weeks of downtime just to let their bodies recover and kind of really get in some good rest. But then after a couple of weeks, they just get itching to start training again, and start getting more creative and doing this, different activities, maybe than they usually do, but they're doing something. And then you start seeing people, buying gym equipment for their house and things like that, and really getting into it. The volume will never be the same, but as long as they aren't going backwards, and they're still doing some good activity, they're going to come out ahead. And for those athletes that are looking at competing in the summer and the fall and different events, you can't take this time off. This is the time you need to really be focused on at least staying at your level and not dropping back. So that's kind of where we really push people, was just don't lose much, you know, try and keep whatever you can. And then whenever everything reopens and there's that stampede back to the clubs and the gyms, you'll be there and you'll be ready to go, and you don't have to worry about injuring yourself, starting over again from nothing. And, you know, it's just, you're going to feel better mentally as well, knowing you put in whatever work you could while you had that chance.
Yeah. And again, I'll stress moderate, regular physical activity. It helps the immune system function. It raises infection fighting like white blood cells, antibodies. It increases circulation, decreases stress hormones, decreases cortisol. So all those things is super, super important. Physical activity also, it provides movement to the body. It needs to oxygenate, circulate blood, nutrients, eliminate waste from the cells. So physical activity does a lot more than, hey, it's about aesthetic. I think too many times, here's a problem. I think too many times we stress the aesthetic, right? And don't stress the health benefits of it, and people don't realize it. There's a ton of immune response benefits that happen with physical activity, period.
Yeah, and we stress that to a lot of our clients that aren't necessarily in aesthetic sports, about the function of a lot of these things, and about how if you really improve inwardly and really focus on improving your health from the inside, you'll have that added benefit of it will show through. Like, you will look better, your skin will look healthier, you'll lose the bags under your eyes, you'll have better color in your skin, whatever it is, but you will look better by improving your health from the inside. So if you focus inwardly, it'll show outwardly, whether you want it to or not.
Yep. I mean, and like we talked about, because of the constraints of COVID-19, I mean, a lot of things exercise is really going to like kind of a home-based model. And again, there's tons of apps there. Like, I got my workout routine from you, which I've been doing. So, and thank you. Like, I'm about ready for that next part of it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's again, going back, I mean, understand that exercise is another one of these modifiable life factors that you have control of, that increases immunity in a number of ways. Another different study, like I told you, like, it shows where it increases natural killer NK cell activity. Again, remember, natural killer cells are the ones that are going to chomp up the viruses and get rid of them. So again, it's going to be super important. Social factors, next modifiable lifestyle factor. This one's big, man, and this kind of can go back to stress, kind of not, but social factors and connection. I think this is super, super important, and it's kind of a challenge right now, because social distancing is still, for all the talk about masks and this and all these other ways to mitigate virus spread, right? I think the only one that's tried it that's most effective, unfortunately, is social distancing, right? It's just to stay away from people. But the problem is, I think moving forward, I think it's going to leave a lot of people that were already socially isolated. It's going to leave them in. I had a patient Tuesday that she said, "I'm not doing well." She says, "I'm right in the middle of a depressive, I'm kind of having a depressive state right now, and I'm not doing well." And she was used to being around people, and the social isolation, the lack of social connection. I mean, it's going to take a toll. We said it the other day. We think there's going to be a lot of PTSD from this, a lot, from people that were used to going to church or getting together in groups or going to dinner or going to the gym. Yep. Like, look at all the CrossFit gyms, or look at all the 45s, or look at all the, all those where that was their kind of their outlet. Yes, it's nice to connect with the family and things like that, but there's other people, like the patient I had Tuesday. She's like, I don't have kids, I'm not married, and so her outlet was going to Orange Theory, and so so there's a lot of people. She hasn't been the only one. It's been on a weekly basis. People are just, you see it in their face. They've got this depression, this and again, they're going to be important to kind of evaluate in clients and patients moving forward.
Yeah, I think there'll be a big uptick, and there already has been already in social media usage. And we know that, prolonged exposure to that type of environment can also cause those type of symptoms. And so you're going to see a compounded effect from that, of people not only being isolated, but then spending that extra time on social media apps, which have a great purpose, and there's good uses for them, but overuse of them causes a lot of problems for people. So hopefully people find a way to disconnect from their phone and from their screens when this is over, and reconnect face to face with people, and find those group activities and and those connections.
Yeah, it's been one of the things, like, Zoom we were used to using. Now it's like people are using Zoom and FaceTime and stuff like that just to see each other. But there's a lot of studies on like physical touch and the benefits of physical touch and the stress reduction of physical touch and things like that. And again, not just the stress reduction, but again, the immune response from physical touch. So I mean, just social relationships themselves, it's one of the things that actually determines longevity. Like if you look at anything like from Dan Buettner, the blue zones, that's one of the determinants of centenarians, is that they've got a really, really strong sense of faith or community. But like social relationships, they're a significant determinant of immune health. Period. I mean, there are the absence of like these essential relationships, collectively referred to social isolation. There's people that were already socially isolated, and this is done. This is going to be worse for them. I mean, again, nobody foresaw a pandemic, right? But this is going to be. We're going to have to deal with that moving forward. So social isolation, loneliness, bereavement, conflict. It's really been implicated in the upregulation of like pro-inflammatory process. Again, going back, there's biomarkers that you can see. And again, going back to the NK cell activity, the natural killer cell, whenever there's lack of social connectivity, there's studies that show that basically it reduces the immune functionality of those NK cell killer cells. Okay,
Do you think that could be also just, not having that social activity with people? You're also not being exposed to as much. And so you're naturally not getting to build those antibodies. And I think that could be a lot of it. If we stay isolated for too long, there's going to be a point to where we have the inability to fight things off because we haven't been exposed to anything. So there has to be, some upregulating of social mixing with other people as a community, so we can keep and build antibodies towards all these viruses.
Yeah, I mean, like this, I have a note, it says excessive social interaction may confer either immune benefit or harm through increased exposure to potential pathogens. So we've got to kind of weigh the bad, depending on whether or not conflict or stressors are present. So I mean, it could be good or bad, but I mean, right now I think it's like way to the other side where we can't see, touch, like people that we're used to seeing. Like we've talked about it. One of the first things I want to do is like go out to Tris, my favorite restaurant, and go eat a Piedmontese steak, and really support some of our local, restaurants, businesses, things like that. And something as simple as like just going out to dinner, looks almost like vacation. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And then just travel and being in a different place. How many of us are used to being in the same place every day, day after day? Just getting out and being on the road. Yesterday, I actually drove for an hour and a half, and it was so different than anything I've done over the last 2 months, just being out on the road for that long. And it was nice just to see other places, just like there's a gas station or a Arby's or whatever it is. Just you see different things, and it was nice just to be out of the house and kind of feel free again. And I think that's a feeling that a lot of us miss, or just have this real stifled kind of feeling being in captivity almost, right? So I think there's going to be a big push towards people just having that freedom to go as they want. And even if that means just going to a park, or if that means just being out of your house and getting out and doing things, I think that will really help the overall collective mental health of everyone, just having that freedom again.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to leave this last one because I really want to like kind of summarize everything. But overall, research indicates that individuals who feel this sense of interconnection with people, okay, either horizontally with other people or vertically through a sense of something greater than themselves. That's like the faith that we talk about, a sense of, community or a higher being. They have favorable gene expression, decreased stress, increased antibodies, and better health outcomes. So in other words, you're just healthier. When they're, a lot of people, we're social beings. Okay, we're meant to, and that's what I think is real hard. Am I saying go out and disavow any of the, disregard any of the rules and regulations right now? No, just understand that it's going to have an impact, and that's in my opinion, one of the first things as safely as possible that we need to get back to, whether it's with family, friends, in a small group, less than 10 or however they mandate, but this last thing I'll leave you with is like there was a study of 8,000 adults showed that greater social engagement and cohabitation were associated with lower C-reactive protein. That's the main inflammatory marker we check overall, fibrinogen and white blood cells. Like, so it literally, again, it's not just me saying, hey, it's just good for you, or hey, it's not good. There's biomarkers that we can track that actually show that, okay, that show that it has benefit. Now, so in general, lifestyle interventions, they can be an effective means to help patients regain their locus of control. That's one of the big things I'm seeing is that I think we feel out of control, and that's the big problem during times of uncertainty like those experienced right now during the pandemic. Right? Substantial research indicates that certain dietary patterns and lifestyle patterns offer viable options for improving overall health, especially by reducing inflammation. Like I said, I always stress inflammation. The anti-inflammatory effects of foods. Again, the most inflammatory things that we do on a daily basis is literally the food we eat.
Yep.
I mean, it literally is. And the aspects of how one chooses to live. Okay, so all our modifiable lifestyle in turn favorably influence and support the immune system function as a preventative measure for reducing the risk of illness or like acquiring COVID. So again, like I said, further, the case of viral in the case of viral infection like COVID, implementing these changes could significantly offset the severity and the recurrence because they're already taught, oh well, it's coming back in the fall, and I think it's here to stay. So just kind of make peace with it and understand that moving forward we should probably wash our hands and not touch our face more and do things like that. Do I think it's reasonable to never shake anybody's hands again? In my opinion, absolutely not. I think that's something that's somebody's personal choice, but I think it's been around since the beginning of time, and I think it's a cultural that I don't think an opinion should be. You can say if you shake somebody's hand.
I hope that one thing that comes out of this long term is that people really are more cognizant of when they are sick, not to go out and spread that unknowingly, or even knowingly at that case. So that if they do get the flu, you get flu type A, you stay home and you take that week to really let it clear so you're not contagious to other people. So I hope that's one big thing that really changes is our awareness of how we spread that.
Yeah, my big thing is I hope this makes people hyper aware, and I've seen it already in the clinic, hyper aware of their health and wellness, and actively try to improve it. And again, I don't care if you're a teenager or 20 years old. I mean, 20, 30-year-old. Like this is a time from now, because understand that like health is or illnesses or comorbidities or age-related diseases, they're cumulative.
Yes.
So it's not been something that just happens when you're 40. It's something that's been building since you were a teen or since you're 20. It's So going back to I just really want to summarize. We went over nutrition. Okay. Again, stressing eat plenty of just nutrient dense foods, and I'm not going to really harp on specifically which ones. I do think we need to be eating a lot more vegetables if you can. Again, there's workarounds like get a green juice. Get things like that, because not everybody's going to go and suddenly become, a big salad eater.
You bet. Just, pick out some different colors. Every time you go to the grocery store, pick a few different colors that you're not familiar with and go with it. See what happens.
And the other one is, again, I'm big about gut microbiome, increased fermented foods. You can drink kombucha tea. There's kimchi. There's a whole thing, sauerkraut. probiotics, yeah. I mean, I'm a big, if you look at just specific strains, yes, probiotic like let me see if I can find it. But basically, certain probiotics are very, very, very good. Like lactobacillus, like you can find it anywhere, bifidobacterium species, they've actually been demonstrated to exhibit numerous beneficial effects on immunity, specifically on immunity, okay, through their interactions with white blood cells. I mean, so, and again, try to get a high CFU, that's basically the amount of, the probiotics.
Yeah.
So, and then again, the biggest thing on nutrition, if you're just going to do one thing, reduce or avoid all the immune offenders such as added sugars and salt, added sugars, high glycemic foods, processed foods, refined foods, and any kind of like excessive saturated fat. So just be cognizant of that. Stress reduction management. This one's a kind of a hard one, because it's if somebody's lost their job, it's kind of hard for me to just go, hey, do meditation, yoga, and Tai Chi, but understand that understand, at least be aware that the stress, it's also knocking down the immune system. So for me right now, I mean, the only advice I can give on that is to do a simple app. I mean, I can't. Again, I don't want to be insensitive and just say, because everybody's in a different place. I mean, we've been blessed to still have our job and able to see patients and help people still with their health and wellness. But it's kind of hard for me to just tell somebody to do something if they lost their job. Sleep, good quality, sufficient quantity, 7-8 hours. Even as some studies have even shown like even 6.5 hours. Again, if it's good quality sleep with good deep and a lot of REM sleep, if you have a good sleep cycles, you could get as techy with it as you want, or it could just be being consistent and limiting the things you can. So cold room, dark room, consistent sleep time every night, limiting blue light activity. That's a big one. At least an hour before you go to sleep. Start dimming the lights. Make sure that your house is a little bit darker at night. So it's super important to get that those phases of sleep.
The other side of that is how you wake up in the morning, and there's a way to go about that too, and that's something we really haven't touched on. But when you wake up, doing your gratitude first thing in the morning for a few minutes before you get out of bed.
Yeah.
Drink a ton of water first thing in the morning.
You wake up dehydrated. I mean, you simply do. One of the quick tips is like you can do quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon of Himalayan pink sea salt, squeeze a lemon in a shaker bottle, slam it, and you hydrate.
Yep. And have that made the night before and have it ready. Just sit on your nightstand. You wake up, you grab it, you drink it.
Yeah.
You could add your greens in there. You could add your whatever that is. You could have that all ready at once.
Yeah.
Really take some time in the morning to plan your day. That's a huge stressor for people feeling out of control, is because they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants and doing whatever seems like they need to do at that time. And plan your day, write it out.
Yeah.
These are the things I need to accomplish today. And even if it's just 3 things, you write them down and you knock those things out. And then wherever your day takes you from there, you're great because you've done those things.
Yeah. And I know it's easy for me to say, but there's still, even if we lost our job, I mean, there's things to be grateful for, whether it's your family, whether it's your kids, whether it's your wife, So when there's time, when you start the day with gratitude, it kind of displaces everything else. It's hard to be grateful and angry, grateful and stressed. So start the day off with that. That's a good tip. And exercise. Again, try do whatever you can to be physically active during this time. You can walk outside. You can I'm sitting across the street from the stadium, football stadium. It's open. Like go walk, go walk upstairs if you can. Bleachers. Go walk around the track if you can. Go walk outside. Go to a park.
It's beautiful out. Beautiful outside.
It's a perfect day today. I know I'm stuck inside. And then the last one, social factors, connection. And again, this is kind of hard. Try as much as you can. A lot of people are, lonely, isolated, especially those are like kind of increased already risk of the older generation. I mean, the ones that are more at risk, 65 and older, I mean, they're really, really socially isolated. So regular social connection, you can do virtual communities. You can do Zooms. We talked about FaceTimes, things like that. Call and check on people. It's going to be super, super important. Again, it helps your immune system.
Yep.
Okay, just connecting with that person. So
me personally, I'm going to be out giving free hugs in the Woodlands. So if you see me after this is over, just come up and tell me, hey, you really got giving out hugs, right? Let's get it.
That's going to be interesting.
And get in here.
That's going to be interesting. You're going to have people that are, real standoffish, and then you're going to have the people that are there. Like I told you, I think the overwhelming majority of people are ready for this to be over and miss a social connection. So again, we're coming up. We got about a minute left, and again, we have so much info to always go over. I think it's going to be a little bit more dialed in next week, in that we have a special guest coming to us, Dr. Heather Carden, who's a ketogenic specialist. She'll be Skyping in, and we'll be going over. So get your questions together if you want on everything you've ever want to know about, like specifics about ketogenic diet, when it comes to training, when it comes to just health and wellness, and any kind of issues. And we'll have her on next week. And so get your questions ready too, Jason. So We're finishing up, and thank you all for listening this week, and look forward to seeing y'all next week at the studio. Finally, Jason, maybe not. I hope we'll be there.
I'll be there.
All right, cool, man.
I'll be there.
All right, well, thank you to everybody, Carlos and Cache, and we will see y'all next week. Thanks for joining us for the show. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.